Hey guys, tonight we're easing into the world of dusty trails and the soft sway of camels under an endless starlit sky. You're about to embark on a journey along the ancient silk routes, with only the persistent whispers of the desert wind to guide your way. As you plod along, imagine the cool sensation of night settling in around you, while your camel sways gently carrying you across shifting sands, behind woven baskets and bolts of the most beautiful silk. You'll find hidden treasures, baskets of bread, piles of dried fruits, and aromatic jars of salted lamb. The Silk Road wasn't just about the vibrant exchange of goods and ideas. Imagine it as a moving feast across cultures and times. You probably won't survive this trip. If you're hoping for an air-conditioned ride or packed lunches, this journey demands a spine for adventure. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And why not share your location and the local time? I'd love to know where and when you're listening to this bedtime story. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your journey begins under a blanket of stars, as ancient as the very sand beneath you. With each gentle step of your camel, you are swayed into a rhythm, almost like a lullaby, a melody composed by the echoes of history itself. These vast routes connected east and west, not just with silk and spices, but with stories like the one you're creating tonight. You ride in the company of merchants and travelers much like yourself, each with their peculiar tales and tantalizing tidbits of knowledge exchanged over steaming cups of tea. When the night grows deep and the fires burn low, historians still debate whether the camels, your companions in this story, were truly domesticated for this great task around 3,500 years ago or even earlier. But as you clutch that understanding, one thing is certain: these resilient creatures are your bridge across a land of endless sands. Step by step, they carry the silk that whispers and snaps softly in the cool night air, flax that hugs short poles lashed to their sides. Did you know historians discovered that these caravan routes weren't just for merchants? Pilgrims and monks traveled them, stitching the spiritual and the secular into the colossal tapestry of the Silk Road. You imagine crossing paths with an ancient monk, his robes slightly dusty, but his smile warm, carrying scriptures that could change the course of history. He shares a slice of his flatbread with you, seasoned with sesame and anise. Not too different from the bread in your own basket, a tangible link to your shared journey. As morning light seeps through the indigo drapery of night, warming the sands beneath you, you notice the colors of the desert transform magnificently. From delicate hues of lavender to the warm embrace of amber, the dunes paint a picture only nature could perfect. Feel the cool grains slip through your fingers as you stop to stretch. Your camel huffs and sinks its keels, closer to the earth, a gentle companion at rest. This pause reveals a surprise. A lush oasis nestled secretly behind the dunes with palm trees, swaying, whispering ancient secrets with every rustle. With the aroma of salted lamb tantalizing the air, your senses dance between the past and present. You may savor each bite and marvel at how flavors have traveled far, crafting a culinary language as subtle yet complex as any. The meal is punctuated with a sweet ending dried apricots that glow like tiny sunsets. You chew on this fruit, marveling how something as simple as a dried apricot once held the mystery and allure of an exotic world. The sun climbs higher, casting its uncompromising gaze across the desert, and you continue your heart and mind as full as the bellies of your laden camels. The silk routes were indeed the world's earliest internet, but without Wi-Fi, just whispers, camel hoof clicks, and the aroma of travelers' stew, mingling with the stories that twist and turn along these ancient paths. The moon hangs brightly in the sky, casting silver light over the vast empty landscape. You feel the coolness of the air against your skin and the soft sounds of the night surround you. Crickets chirping a gentle breeze, rustling through the sparse vegetation. In the heart of this moonlit emptiness, a group of travelers gathers around a flickering open flame, their faces illuminated softly by its warm glow. You are among these travelers, sitting cross-legged on the ground, watching as they cook their meal. Flatbreads puff and rise on hot stones, each one carefully turned until it's golden and inviting. The aroma of the dough mingles in the air, a tantalizing promise of simple sustenance. Nearby, milk gently simmers in a well-worn copper pan. The sight of the rich white liquid swirling and bubbling soothes your senses, a quiet reminder of the small comforts found in every day. The steam wafts upwards, carrying with it tendrils of spices, coriander, cumin, perhaps a hint of cinnamon. These spices drift through the camp like incense, narrating a story of faraway lands and ancient trade routes where such treasures were exchanged. As you breathe in this heady mix, the scents become a part of the night itself, forever tied to memories of this moment. The night smells of coriander ash and the gentle unfolding of slow stories, a time when tales were woven around campfires, each thread adding warmth to the chill of night. Historians still debate whether these travelers belong to a larger caravan, journeying along the Silk Road, or were simply nomads seeking a resting spot under the wide star-studded sky. What remains clear is that their lives were intimately connected to the land and to each other, bound by the shared experiences of travel and survival. You watch as one of the travelers, an elderly man with a kind face and weathered hands, begins to speak. His voice is low and rhythmic, like the steady beat of a heart, and you find yourself drawn in as if time itself pauses to listen. He tells of a time when a caravan faced a great sandstorm, how they huddled together beneath the protective embrace of the desert sands, clutching each other's hands until the morning sun broke the storm's stranglehold. It's hard to say whether the tale is true or merely a legend, a story passed down through generations and embellished for the sake of drama. Though many centuries have passed since those days, one can still feel the echo of that ancient caravan, the murmurs of its members resonating through the years. Did they find their destination, or did the sands of time swallow their journey, leaving behind only whispers and grains scattered by the wind? Sometimes, just like now, a small playful breeze stirs up the sand around you, and it seems as though it wishes to speak. Perhaps it carries messages from those lost to history, or maybe it's simply playing teasing the firelight, and you into imagining mysteries deeper than they truly are. Your attention drifts back to the campfire, where the bread is ready to be shared, and mugs are filled with frothy, spiced milk. The travelers offer you a piece of the warm, flat bread, its surface still sizzling slightly from the stone. You accept it gratefully, the earthy taste paired perfectly with the slight sweetness of the spiced milk tickling your palate. In this moment, you realize there's beauty in simplicity, a notion far too easy to forget in a world so filled with chaos and demands. Sometimes all you really need is good food, a gentle fire, and the company of kind souls to feel content, settled, and whole. This realization settles over you like a soft blanket, as comforting as the warmth from the flames, and you find yourself settling deeper into the gathering darkness of night. The slow storytelling continues around the campfire, each tale winding its way into the next. Just as this night wraps itself around you, quiet and profound. They speak of ancient wonders like how the Great Wall of China stands tall and unyielding against the sands of time, an unending testament to human perseverance. Yet it's said that beneath the wall lie secrets, lost to the ages, mysteries hidden by the very stones themselves. Are the tales true, or are they a tapestry woven from hopes and fears, from human longing and the eternal pursuit of understanding? The evening wears on the fire, dimming slightly with the encroaching passage of time. The conversations drift, stretching and contracting like a living thing, alive with the imaginations and memories of those present. It lulls you as cherished stories do a soft, comforting current that cradles you, urging you towards rest. As the last embers glow with gentle heat, and the stars speak in silent brilliance above you, feel the weight of the day leave you piece by piece carried away on the cool night air. Now in this timeless space between waking and dreams, you bid the world of the living a quiet farewell, allowing yourself the grace to drift away. In this ethereal realm, time is measured not by the ticking of clocks, but by the heartbeat of stories shared and dreams cradled. Perhaps historians will someday ponder the mysteries of this night and whether such travelers existed at all. Nevertheless, their tales weave into the tapestry of night, becoming an indelible part of its fabric of your fabric. So here beneath the watching stars and the blanket of an ancient sky with the scent of spices still lingering softly in your mind, you let go. Let the night envelop you wholly, like a kind hand drawing the curtains closed, leaving nothing but the serene quiet of restful slumber. Long before the delicate threads of silk started weaving their tales across the world, people like you and I relied on something else. Something simple, yet vital, salt. As you close your eyes, imagine yourself wandering through the bustling markets of ancient days where the scent of the sea mingles with the earthy aroma of preserved fish, and where traders shout the praises of their wares. Salt, not just confined to mere seasoning in your kitchen, was long ago the heartbeat of civilizations. Picture yourself at the edge of the great Caspian Sea, where the water's surface glitters like a sea of diamonds under the sun. Here you find fishermen, braving the briny waves, drawing their nets heavy with the silver glimmer of fish. They're preparing the catch with hands experienced in the art of preserving salting away the moisture, locking in the sustenance. The taste of such flesh carried more than just nourishment. It carried the stories and tides of distant shores to markets that felt, oftentimes, oceans away. But it's not solely the fish that intrigue you. Your path takes you to the shadowy caverns of the Himalayas, where rugged particles of rock salt await discovery. Unearthed over centuries, each crystalline shard tells tales as ancient as the mountains themselves. You might glance around, wondering if you'll be overwhelmed by the daunting task of digging through stone for a bit of seasoning. You probably won't survive this, just kidding you would, if you had the right tools and knowledge of the land. As you daydream about those traders maybe sitting on a woven blanket, surrounded by curious traders from lands yet unknown, you see how salt wasn't just a preservative, but a currency. Imagine the clinking and chattering of goods being exchanged, smoky fish for spices from the east or dried fruits from the south. Let your imagination wander as you trade past the simple clinks of coins for the richer noise of cultural exchange. Before you drift deeper into this world, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As your mind settles, sense the warmth of the fires on which the salted fish were cooked, emitting a delightful aroma that dances just beneath the stars. Such imagery is paired perfectly with the fresh sea breeze that hints of stories far beyond your horizon. Can you hear it whisper tales of mystery, like that around the origins of Himalayan salt? Historians still debate whether the earliest salt harvesters were aware of its health benefits or whether it was all just fortuitous chance. As you savor these ancient flavors of history, think about the unexpected roles salt played. Far from the mountains or coastal towns, salty snacks became cherished marks of hospitality in lavish banquets of noble courts. There the salty tangs teased the palate, complementing the richer, more feasting dishes on offer. Imagine how a simple saline crust made travelers pause in their journeys just to partake in something both exotic and profoundly familiar. Salt became a bridge and a bond, a simple element elevated by its ability to connect people, to preserve the past, and to push the boundaries of exploration beyond known worlds. As the twinkling stars of those markets fade into your gentle dreams, remember the salt and unassuming yet essential player in the stories of people who walked this earth long before our time. Feel the cool night air wrap around you, carrying with it remnants of those ancient trades and trails. Wonder at how a glint of crystal tucked away in caves far beneath your feet could start ripples of contact, creating links that tied entire regions together through trade necessity and the relentless pursuit of taste. And like all great journeys that begin, this one too leaves trails of salt, of stories, of connections you'll follow off into your dreams. You secure yourself upon the saddle, feeling the warm breath of your horse against the soft morning air. The sun has yet to crest the horizon, but the vast steppes stretch out interminably before you, a swath of untouched earth, waiting for the day's adventures. Your journey begins with kumis, the famed fermented mare's milk, sloshing gently within skin bags hanging from the saddle. The rhythmic motion as your horse treads the path causes the liquid to bubble lightly, its soft gurgles akin to a whispered secret of the trails. You take a sip cold and crisp, with a slight hint of alcohol touching your senses. It's mildly sour but invigorating. A tried and true remedy to wakefulness, it works better than the strongest brew of roasted beans from lands far away. As your senses sharpen, you ponder the historical footprint of kumis, an essential part of nomadic life across the Central Asian plains. The nomads cherished it, not just for its unique taste, but also for its nutritional value. It was believed to possess health benefits, even staving off the scurvy that plagued many ancient travelers. Despite its apparent miracles, historians still debate whether the exaggerated health claims of kumis were mere folklore woven into the cultural tapestries of time. Yet here it is, undeniably energizing as it bubbles under the sun, ready to push you through the day's journey. With each gentle sway of your horse, you feel the pull of history in every stride, reminiscent of those countless others who have traversed these lands before. The stark beauty of the steppes is peppered with remnants of lives long past weathered stones marking ancient burial sites, wisps of grass whispering tales that only the wind understands. You marvel at the thought that these lands have borne witness to countless travelers and armies in ages past, from the fierce Mongol hordes to solitary merchants laden with silk and spices. You travel alongside your companions, their silhouettes casting long shadows on the ground. One of them mentions Attila the Hun, a leader whose very name sent ripples of fear across empires. His armies moved swiftly, consuming territories at a staggering rate, their fierce reputation echoing through corridors of history. Yet younger, you'd be surprised to learn historians debate whether every story of Attila's terror was truth or simply tales spun by his frightened foes. The rhythm of the journey beats on as the day unfolds. You pass by clusters of yurts, their circular forms stark against the horizon. Children scamper outside their laughter, a counterpoint to the light clinking of kumis filled bags. These nomadic homes, simple yet profoundly functional, have housed generations across the steppes. Their circular design minimizes wind resistance, a clever adaptation in these open, often harsh environments. You take another refreshing sip of kumis, chuckling softly at a quirky detail, a supposed culinary crossroad. Napoleon Bonaparte, it's said, might have been inclined to taste kumis during his campaigns, though. Whether fact or embellishment, the anecdote remains tantalizing, illustrating the unexpected intersections of culinary curiosity across history's tapestry. As the afternoon sun casts a golden hue over the plains, your mind journeys to the famed Silk Road, that sprawling network of trade routes where exchanges were as cultural as they were commercial. Silks and spices transformed civilizations, but it was the unmentioned aspects, the exchange of ideas, the spread of religions that arguably shaped the world more profoundly. Yet among these exchanges, the true origin of silk was guarded by the Chinese like a well-kept secret. its weaving technique shrouded in myth and mystery. In these quiet moments, reflections merge with the landscape. You feel a connection not just to the travelers of days past, but also to those who will follow the continuity of journeys of kumis, shared among friends of stories exchanged under vast starry skies. The interplay of history and present personal and universal flows as seamlessly as the mare's milk you savor. Evening descends, and the chill of the steppes whispers against your skin. You gather around a fire, sharing tales, as dancers flicker around the flames' glow. You listen, warmed not just by the heat, but by the company, by the shared bond of the road. You cannot help but think of one more amusing morsel from bygone days, how the Greeks' mariners, as they were reportedly secured their goatskins filled with wine during treacherous voyages, supposedly granting luck to their safe return. Yet whether it was luck or mere superstition born out of necessity, such practices reveal just how humans cling to hope in precarious times. As the embers of the fire glow softly, your mind drifts to the notion of enduring paths trodden by dreamers and conquerors. A gentle breeze carries the serendipitous, melodic chant of crickets, a lullaby to guide you into night's embrace. And as the stars emerge, studding the velvet sky, you are cradled by the steps, an ancient landscape harboring secrets and stories untold. With the comforting, familiar taste of kumis on your lips and the endless horizon before you, you drift gently towards sleep, the fire's glow fading into the deep stillness of night. Your dreams, a tapestry of history's whispers and tomorrow's promise. Your journey begins under the vast expanse of the shimmering stars cloaked in the mystery of ancient trade routes, where the winds whisper secrets of the past into your ears. You find yourself wandering along the legendary Silk Road, that ancient web of paths connecting mighty empires, where spices, silks, and stories were exchanged among travelers like precious currency. With each step, you sense the richness of history imbued in the stones beneath your feet. The aroma of exotic dishes wafts through the air, enticing you to follow it like a loyal companion. The journey introduces you to a culinary delight that has graced cultures across centuries, the dumpling. These humble parcels of flavor are more than just food. They are history wrapped in dough, telling the tales of different lands and people. From Chinese jiaozi to Turkish manti dumplings, adapt with a magical resilience, embracing the tastes and traditions of every culture they touch. Imagine thundering hooves in the distance, perhaps a trading caravan or a group sharing meals after a long day of travel. You might not survive without a taste of what's in those steaming pots. They are promises of warmth and energy much needed on this lengthy road. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Don't forget to share your location and local time. We're all fellow travelers after all. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As your journey unfolds, you discover that the dumpling's journey mirrors that of humanity evolving and adapting, yet always holding on to its core essence. The Chinese jiaozi, for example, isn't just about its fillings. It's about the craftsmanship and care in sealing each one just right to create a perfect pocket of delight. Historians believe that these dumplings were first made during the Han Dynasty, serving as warm remedies against cold winters, a symbol of comfort. Surprisingly, in some regions, it is said that people would slip a tiny coin or a piece of paper with wishes inside some dumplings to add a playful twist to those who eat them. Imagine that first bite, the delight or surprise at life's little fortunes. Just another way food weaves joy into our lives. As you wander further down the trail, your senses are greeted by the savory aroma of Turkish manti. Smaller than their Chinese cousins, these tiny parcels of goodness, often filled with spiced meat and served with a dollop of cool yogurt, carry the warmth of Turkey's culinary legacy. The Turkish Anatolian versions are exquisitely delicate, each dumpling smaller than a child's thumb, lovingly crafted for festivals and family feasts. An unusual custom surrounds these miniature manti. It is said that prospective brides would be tested on the quality of their manti skills. If they could roll them small enough to fit 40 of them into one spoon, they were deemed worthy. Of course, historians still debate whether such tests ever happened, or if they're just age-old tales spun over countless dinner tables. As you sit among these culinary traditions, you can feel the vibrant pulse of humanity across time. Each dish, a reflection of the community that birthed it. Each recipe, a story passed from one generation to the next like whispers carried on the breeze. Lentils tumble in gentle cascades in another dish, their earthy flavor merging with spices to create a comforting filling, often enhanced by regional veggies such as leeks. The diversity in ingredients and methods is as vast as the Silk Road itself. Continuing on this journey, you find that these dumplings, adapting to the culinary landscapes they traversed, became as varied as the regions destined by this historic route. They grew and changed ranks in the kitchens of Persia, taking on flavors like sweet saffron or bitter sumac ingredients, less common in lands further east. Isn't it fascinating how this simple dish became a mosaic of cultural exchange, painted by the people who cherished them, improvising with the best of what they had available? Whether steamed, boiled, or fried, dumplings are global reminders that despite our differences, the need for nourishment and joy unites us. As the night deepens, you let your imagination wander further into the echoes of history. On some cool moonlit nights, traders would gather around campfires to share meals and stories from their respective homelands. Each dumpling unveiled its own unique tale, wrapped in the bonds of trade and friendship. The sturdy outer shell mirroring the strength and resilience necessary to travel such tumultuous paths, yet within a tender heart, a comforting core shared by all. Such was the nature of these ancient networks of exchange. Physical goods flowed from east to west, yes, but the more lasting exchanges were cultural, among them the culinary. The Silk Road wasn't merely a trade route for silk and spices. It was a highway for ideas, for tastes, for understanding. As the sands of time continue to shift and the night stretches, you feel a sense of peaceful unity in this shared world. Heritage, a succession of flavors passed hand to hand and heart to heart through generations, some cherished, others forgotten, but all immensely significant. The music of history and heritage resides within every morsel of dumpling. Let the soft murmur of the Silk Road's night lull you into rest, where dreams of steam-filled kitchens and aromatic spices weave into your sleep, intertwining with the distant echoes of laughter shared over communal meals. May your dreams carry you along ancient paths to where cultures meet, and where every bite tells a story worth listening to. As you drift further into slumber, remember the warmth, the storytelling, and the unity that these humble packages represent. And may you find peace, knowing that wherever travel takes you, you're always connected through time, taste, and tradition. You find yourself in a bustling bazaar, the air heavy with the scents of spices that have traveled miles upon miles. Cloves from India are displayed in neatly arranged piles, their slightly sweet and peppery aroma tickling your nose. Just a few feet away, cinnamon from the lush lands of Ceylon curls enticingly in the warm breeze, the sweet and woody scent mingling with the laughter of traders and the clinking of coins exchanging hands. As you wander, your senses are overwhelmed by saffron threads from Persia, their crimson hue vivid against the white cloth on which they're displayed, promising decadence and exotic flavors. The vibrant, almost metallic smell of saffron carries tales of adventure and distant journeys across mountains and deserts. The caravan is alive with the sounds of negotiation and the rustling of goods. Somewhere close by, a seasoned traveler talks animatedly about a time-worn legend that a single grain of nutmeg can buy a sheep. You chuckle softly, wondering if that part is true, or merely an exaggeration passed from one trader's lips to another. Yet in this world, rich with scents and stories, anything feels possible. You've also heard whispers as you walk, by historians still debate whether extraordinary tales of these spice routes are legends or mere folklore. Did the value of spices truly rival silver and gold? Some say it did. Others nod to the allure of embellished tales, spun to captivate listeners late at night. Amidst this fragrant milieu, a young boy darts past carrying a basket, almost half his size. Various fragmented scents waft past as he goes a blend of garlic ginger, maybe even a hint of cardamom. He disappears into a thick crowd, perhaps vanishing into one of those tantalizing side alleys shrouded in secretive transactions. You continue your exploration, noting the colorful textiles and skilled crafts on sale alongside the spices. They are no less part of these storied routes, and you can't help but wonder about the lives of the people who crafted them. Each thread, each stitch, shares a different aspect of a grander narrative, woven through family, community, and history. The atmosphere is light, but there's a hum of activity that hints at the deeper purpose of these gatherings. A deal here could concern a marriage dowry, while elsewhere an agreement might secure a town's supply for the next year. You might even think of the traders' merchants whose ancestors before them passed these routes, each generation adding to the lore and legends with their accounts. One man adjusting his turban insists that just like his father before him, he can predict the weather based solely on the scent of the air. And remarkably, he seems to always stay one step ahead of the storms. The idea of caravans carrying treasures from disparate parts of the world fills you with a sense of wonder. Imagine camel trains winding over stretches of unforgiving sand, the stars guiding their way as they wove the tapestry of human connections centuries ago. Few would have ventured far from their villages back then, reliant on these travelers to bring back not just spices, but news of worlds beyond their imagining. Despite this rich mingling of places, times, and tales, perhaps the strangest truth of it all lies in the normalcy with which people conduct their business. To many here, the excitement of the vibrant banquet of aromas that strikes you as remarkable is merely everyday life. They will sleep beneath markets like this across the continent, cradling sacks of spice on either side, like precious children, with no thought of the wondrous world that their wares tie together. You wander by an elderly woman with deep-set eyes and a kind smile selling saffron. She nods a warm greeting and hands you a few threads as she speaks her voice a tapestry of places and memories. The wisdom of saffron is multitude. Some say it heals the body. Others whisper it binds the heart. And indeed, in this enchanting place, the boundaries between legend and reality blur. So as the caravans set into predictable nightly routines, the many tales they carry mingle with the fragrance of their spices, allowing you to question, dream, and imagine within the soothing twilight glow. As the shops begin to shutter and the market's energy dims to a soft murmur, you find a place under a pitched tent, a gentle breeze carrying the remaining scents of clove, cinnamon, and saffron. Finally, beneath the starlit sky, bridging both the exotic and the mundane, your evening adventure in this historic bazaar concludes, inviting you into the soft embrace of night. As you stroll through the streets of ancient Samarkand, vibrant colors and sounds envelop you. The air is filled with stories as people gather around bustling food stalls, each one offering a unique dish that has been passed down through generations. It's here that you encounter the tantalizing scent of lamb, broth rich and inviting. You watch as a vendor, her hands deft, and experience twirls wheat dough into long, stretchy noodles. They lie, waiting eager to be drenched in the steaming broth that simmers nearby. The broth itself is a mosaic of flavors infused with spices that have traveled along the Silk Road, much like the noodles themselves. Legend has it that these threads of deliciousness may have made their way to Italy, transforming what we now know as pasta. Historians still debate whether Marco Polo was the great noodle transporter, or if the idea sprouted independently under the Mediterranean sun. Leaving Samarkand behind, your senses lead you to the dynamic city of Kashgar. It's a place where cultures and cuisines converge, nestled at the crossroads of East and West. Here, the art of noodle making takes on a different rhythm. You observe a cook bending and twisting dough strands above a smoking hot pan. With a masterful toss, they descend into a mix of sizzling garlic, releasing their fragrant kiss into the air. Kashgar's culinary tradition tells you of hand-pulled noodles, an ancient technique passed lovingly through generations. It's said these meditative techniques fostered patience and precision long before machines took over the task. The intertwined noodles are not just sustenance, but a symbol of a region's unity and resilience. As day turns to dusk, you sit down at a wooden table to enjoy this freshly fried delicacy. The flavors burst forth, a joyful celebration in your mouth with each bite. A bite of history seasoned with garlic, a surprising twist that elevates the simplicity of wheat and water into something unforgettable. The story of Noodles, like so many in history, is woven with threads of uncertainty. Was it migration that carried the recipe across continents, or an unspoken connection through human creativity? The questions linger, but here, nestled between the markets and mountains, you find a quiet contentment in simply experiencing the moment. Stories like these remind you that food is more than mere sustenance. It connects us to past worlds and people different, yet similar to us across borders and time, just like the spices in your dish tonight. With each forkful, it fosters a sense of community, reminiscent of gathering around a communal pot sharing stories and flavors one noodle at a time. As you savor your meal, you can't help but contemplate the paths that those long strands of dough might have traveled, journeys woven into the fabric of a culinary tapestry that continues to intrigue historians and flavor enthusiasts alike. With a full belly and a warm heart, you lean back, allowing the fading light to cast gentle shadows. The stories linger etched in the twilight, promising more adventures to come as you continue through this journey of taste and tradition. You can almost imagine it. You are standing in a bustling market in ancient China. Dawn's light creeps over the horizon, casting a soft glow on the rows of vendors setting up their stalls. The aroma of freshly brewed green tea wafts through the air, mingling with the earthy scent of the packed dirt on which you stand. You've heard the stories. These brick-shaped tea packages are not just drinks. They're as good as currency. In a world without digital wallets or paper bills, these tea bricks are the lifeblood of trade, just as valuable as gold. With a wink, you remember that tagline from a modern ad. You probably won't survive without this. Well, in this era, that might just be the truth. The clinking sound you hear isn't the familiar jingle of coins, but the solid thud of clay-like tea blocks being exchanged. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Maybe it's early morning, where you are, or late at night. Wherever you find yourself, feel free to post your location and local time in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself drifting not just through the marketplace, but through time. The tea brick in your hand is destined for Tibet, where high in the mountains the monks and nomads crave something more than just a warm drink. They crave butter tea, a concoction as rich and comforting as the touch of sunlight on a cold day. Melted yak butter and salt make it hearty, perfect for fending off the chill of the Himalayas. But as you sip it in your mind's eye, you can't help but wonder, did someone somewhere in this history ever try to make butter tea with cow butter? Instead, historians still debate whether such experiments were successful or culturally accepted. In the corridors of Persia, another transformation awaits tea. Cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves dance around the steamy liquid in an aromatic ballet. The spice blend catches you by surprise, potent and full-bodied like a well-performed symphony. Each sip tells you a story of trade, of cultural blending, as vibrant and colorful as the Persian tapestries hanging in the bustling bazaars. As you wander, consider how tea traveled these roads, not just as a drink, but as a bearer of tales. Meticulously hand-pressed into bricks, compact enough for a traveler's pouch, yet potent enough to serve as a worthy gift, or even pay taxes as astonishing as that may sound to your 21st century ears. Wealth was measured not just in goods owned, but in rich tea leaves molded with care and history. Picture, if you will, the faces of traders whose lives revolved around these pressed blocks. Their hands stained green with the residual powder, they bartered and negotiated, bringing tales of the mystical East to curious ears further west. The roads carried whispers of lands unseen, punctuated by the earthy aroma of tea and mysterious spices. Think about the vast terrains these traders crossed, the harsh deserts of the Silk Road, the lofty passes of the Himalayas, the vibrant crossroads of Persian empires. Their journeys might have been perilous, but imagine the look of relief as they shared a pot of brewed tea with strangers, turned friends around the fire, stories and laughter carrying into the night as naturally as the crackling wood. It's a moment of camaraderie, not much different from sharing a cup of coffee with a friend today, amidst a world that seems vast and occasionally daunting. In one vivid tale, an ancient Persian trader swaps a brick of his treasured cardamom tea for silk, bringing a taste of his homeland to the bustling markets of the Orient. A homecoming in each sip, a reminder of distant family waiting for his return. Were rumors shared about the finest blends, just like wine connoisseurs dissect vintages today. This tea, someone might argue over a fire's glow from the Fujian province, pairs exquisitely with the soft notes of jasmine. And maybe the next morning another traveler sets out on a journey chasing after a tale spun in the emberine dusk. Reflect on how tea served as a method to quiet restless souls amidst long voyages, or soothe the weary with its presence, a universal balm against time's eternal march. Whether steeped gently in ornate teapots or traded hastily in makeshift stalls, tea remained a constant bridging the gap between exotic locales and familiar firesides. When you next sip your tea, think of these ancient connections. The fragrance that fills your senses today carries with it echoes from the past, of butter-laden cups, warming chilled fingers, or cardamom scents, soothing frayed nerves. Even now, as you watch these images unfold, you feel a seamless thread connecting you to yesterday's travelers and traders. Your journey, like theirs, is tinged with a curiosity about what lies just beyond the present horizon. Dried apricots, candied rose petals, pistachio nougat. Traders with a pouch of sugar were kings at camp. Dessert was never just dessert, it was diplomacy. A pouch of sugar made all the difference back then. Sweetness was not just a flavor, but a treasured currency. And you, a traveler through time, can almost taste the importance of sugar on your tongue. You can feel the vibrant colors of markets, filled with the aromas of spices, fruits, and dreams. Picture yourself walking through a bustling caravanserai, a haven for those voyaging along the Silk Road, where traders gathered like ants around a scented hill of precious goods. A man calls out, offering honey, the golden syrup gleaned from countless wildflowers. Another waves a handkerchief embroidered with impossibly delicate patterns, inviting your curiosity as much as your coin. Yet it is the seller with small wax-sealed pouches of sugar who holds a sort of quiet authority. You pause observing others, approach him with a wary respect, offering their own precious trades, silk spices, or even rare gems. His stock of crystalline sweetness speaks of lands far from your own. Although sugar originally came from Southeast Asia, it soon traveled far and wide, morphing from plant to crystal in ways both natural and mysterious. Ever an object of desire, sugar enchanted those who tasted its rare sweetness. It's an unusual detail that the simple act of sweetening one's food could wield such power. Sweetness was a luxury the kind people would cross deserts and seas to savor. It's hard to imagine a time when sugar was not easily available in every kitchen cabinet. It was an extravagance, a treasure passed hand to hand from queen's court to emperor's palace. Historians still debate whether it was the European crusaders or the Arab traders who truly spread sugar's fame across continents. As twilight drapes itself over the camp, conversations drift from business to pleasure, fueled by the allure of sugared treats. Dried apricots, sun-kissed and plump, are traded with care, conjuring the heat of summer days, even in the chill of the desert night. They're a sweet counterpoint to the bitter taste of life's journeys, a comfort like a pat on the back from an old friend. You can almost hear the soft rustle of their skins, brushing past one another as they are carefully measured and weighed. Among the offerings are candied rose petals that gleam softly like petals caught in the first touch of morning dew. The fragility of the petals symbolizes the delicate balance between sweetness and the bitterness of survival. In your mind, the sweetness mingles with the aroma of roses, enchanting you with notes both exotic and familiar, reminiscent of times when flowers spoke of love and promises made by moonlight. At the edge of the fire's glow, pistachio nougat is being shaped with care, a process as mesmerizing as alchemy. The nougat, a smooth blend of nuts and honey, speaks volumes of its creator's artistic skill. You notice a mix of admiration and envy in the eyes of others, testament to the triumph of ingenuity over scarcity. This lavish treat is a testament to the crossing of cultures and tastes, a delicacy celebrated in ancient texts and modern tables alike. The art of confectionery was evolving, and innovation found a way to infuse the mundane with magic. Each nibble was a reminder of how creativity could turn simplicity into wonder. Historians still murmur about who first combined sugar with nuts and honey, but there's no arguing that its rich blended taste was worth every moment of its mysterious origins. Watching the traders bartering their voices low with gravity, You glimpse the hidden diplomacy woven into these transactions. It's not merely about the exchange of goods. It's the building of bridges, the softening of hardened paths, a sweet note in a world oft filled with harshness. Every piece of candied rose petal, every morsel of nougat carries with it a story, a connection between people who might never share another moment again. Embedding yourself in their stories, you wonder about your own role in this tapestry of time and taste. Will you be remembered as a purveyor of sweetness or a seeker of such treasures? As the night deepens, the campfire's crackling offers familiar comfort. You settle down, letting the narrative weave its melody around you, each flavor, each story as tangible as the cool air. The night envelops the camp, its lullaby gentle and persistent. The sugar trader, a figure wrapped in shadow, and smoke leans back with a contented sigh, perhaps dreaming of home or a land beyond dreams. For just a moment, you too, let yourself become part of the landscape of history, unfolding around you, embracing the calm, cozy tones of dessert diplomacy. There's an academic uncertainty that adds to its allure. The idea that something so sweet could wield such influence moving through time like a carefully crafted tale whispered under starlit skies. The sweetness was never just in the taste, but in the stories shared, the bonds formed and the memories made. Now as you drift beneath the silvery sweep of celestial constellations, remember that each moment passed like the grains of sugar exchanged in that busy camp is a part of the larger, sweeter story of us all. Central Asia, a place once teeming with bustling trade routes and vibrant cultures, offers a backdrop for the journey you're about to embark on, a journey that begins with a humble flatbread. You find yourself among travelers across the vast steppes where the skies stretch out endlessly above you and the earth feels boundless beneath your feet. The air is crisp, carrying scents of spices and adventure, whispering tales of long-forgotten travelers who blazed trails before you. Here, flatbreads are not merely food. They're companions on epic adventures. These breads are hard stackable and expertly crafted to last through the longest treks, making them invaluable to those journeying from one horizon to the next. Their resilience mirrors the spirit of the travelers themselves, who are both determined and adaptable, just like the flatbreads they carry. Historians still debate whether these flatbreads were an invention of necessity or innovation, though both seem equally plausible. What is clear, however, is their central role in the tapestry of everyday life for these wanderers. You visualize the process: Central Asian bakers, masters of their craft, expertly shaping dough with weathered hands and a practiced rhythm that resounds like a lullaby. These breads emerge golden and fragrant from clay tandoors, their edges slightly charred, a promise of warmth in every bite. You marvel at the ingenuity of these clay ovens, which harness the earth's natural properties to achieve temperatures that transform mere flour and water into sustenance as durable as it is delicious. Some say these flatbreads have been known to keep for weeks, which seems both extraordinary and slightly suspect. But no matter time-tested or not, they are cherished for their practical glory and unmatched ability to nourish the weary soul Your mind drifts to thoughts of how these flatbreads come alive with other flavors tasting even better when dipped into hearty stews or enlivened with spiced yogurt, a contrast as pleasing as the colors woven into a bright tapestry. Such meals are a respite, a pause in the relentless rhythm of travel, and in your imagination, you savor each morsel infused with the stories and landscapes of this broad land. When you gather with fellow travelers beneath starlit skies, the flatbreads become a shared communion. Each piece is passed hand to hand, worn from journey, but never tired much, like the stories that accompany them. It's in these moments that you sense a deeper truth of their meaning more than just nourishment. These flatbreads are a lifeline connecting you to the past and sustaining you for the road ahead. The history of flatbreads is rich with layers much like the dip of spiced yogurt that accompanies them. One remarkable revelation is the use of different grains and seeds carefully selected for their hardiness, their ability to thrive in this vast, often unforgiving terrain. These grains bring their own stories, whispers of ancient fields and farmers who tilled them with hopes and dreams rooted deep in the soil. You picture these grains entwined with flavors as diverse as the travelers themselves, each spice, each herb, a nod to regions explored, to cultures met and shared across the ages. Here in this world, food is a bridge, a common ground, where dialogue unfolds without need for words. Amidst the cool glow of the coals within the tandoors, it's not just the bread that bakes. Community bonds and enduring friendships form in the wake of such simple miracles. You imagine the warmth that radiates, not just from the ovens, but also from the fellowship of shared stories and laughter that echo into the night. Travel even further back in time, and you might find yourself pondering how these ancient bakers discovered the secrets of the tandoor. Perhaps it was a moment of serendipity, or perhaps it lies cloaked in the mysteries of early culinary experimentation. Historians still explore the enigma. Nonetheless, this miraculous oven became an ally, a steadfast forge of nourishment that seemed to defy time itself. And so, as you continue through the narrative of these seamless journeys, let these images linger, a legacy passed from hand to hand, generation to generation, a thread that winds its way through the heart of Central Asia and beyond. With every bite of bread, with every drop of stew or dollop of yogurt, they touch the travelers, not unlike you, reaffirm their place in this vast shared story. Here, under the endless expanse of sky, the memory of each baked bread, and their tales of endurance cradle you gently, much like the warm woolen shrouds that hug the travelers to stave off the night's biting chill. So let these thoughts wane softly. Like the twilight, let the questions of history, the surprises of cultures entwined, and the certainties of shared humanity guide you into rest. As you slip into dreams, imagine the horizon beyond stretched out infinitely beneath a sea of stars, a reminder that every journey ebbs and flows, much like the sound of your breath amongst the whispers of a world long past. Embrace this serenity, for in the silence, the heart finds its home, and the lull of ancient tales weave you into their timeless embrace. In the golden glow of a distant past, you find yourself wandering through the vibrant streets of ancient Bukhara, a city bustling with life and bursting with colors. The air is rich with the scent of spices and incense, the chatter of markets, and the soft murmur of stories shared among travelers, gathered in this fabled Silk Road crossroads. It's a place where history breathes in every brick and every shadow casts a story. As you stroll deeper into the labyrinth of stalls and shops, your senses are beckoned by the allure of something magnificent. They're laid out like treasures discovered from a dream are the melons of Bukhara. Their skins are covered in a pattern as intricate as a mosaic, each one a masterpiece painted by nature. The sellers smile at your awe, prideful of these legendary fruits that have traveled through the sands of time to become icons of their culture. The stories say that these melons were a favorite of emperors and poets alike. They were so revered that travelers from lands far and wide would carry the seeds with them as precious gifts, small tokens of gratitude, or tools of diplomacy. You imagine them carried across deserts and mountains, packed snugly into caravans, just like those dreamers and traders of old who sought them centuries before you. But what makes these melons so special? You wonder. Historians have tried to unravel the mysteries, yet there's a certain magic that still escapes modern understanding. Could it be the prosperity of the soil that envelops the city, kissed by the waters of the Zarafshan River? Or perhaps it's the blessings of countless generations, whispering prayers into the vines each spring. One thing is certain, whole odes have been penned to capture their sweetness, poems that waft like the rich perfume of the fruit itself carried on the winds. Lennox, a Victorian traveler, an amateur botanist, once declared in his journal that tasting one of Bukhara's melons was akin to sipping sunlight itself. Whether this is a flight of romantic fancy or recorded truth, his reflections remain an enduring testament to their legendary allure. There's something almost sacred about these melons, some hint at the divine that clings to their reputation. People say they are holy, blessed by folklore and nurtured by the stars. This could be the reason villagers hold festivals in their honor, where dances swirl around bonfires and laughter mingles with the night, just as intoxicating as the melons themselves. And so, as you hold one in your hand, its weight is a gentle, reassuring anchor against the transient nature of all things. It's humbling to think how a fruit could speak so eloquently of a place's heart and soul, transcending mere sustenance to become intertwined with legend, culture, and spirit. As the sun sets, painting the sky in hues of amber and indigo, you take a moment to imagine the seeds you hold. They hold promises of stories, yet to bloom hushed conversations between the soil and sky, yearning for rebirth in distant lands. They connect you to a chain of hands and hopes, linking you across centuries with countless others who have marveled as you do now. And just when it feels like you might drift off into dreams of your own, carried away on whispers of history and myth, the storyteller's voice in your mind softens. It wraps around you like a melody, gentle as the night breeze rustling through the leaves outside your window. You feel the comfort of every cozy vignette, shared every soft-spoken tale, murmuring through the corridors of your imagination like a lullaby to soothe you into the quiet embrace of sleep. Most evenings in the cool, expansive lands stretching from the formidable Pamirs to the captivating Anatolia, the debate would spark up like a campfire under the star-studded sky. Herders gathered not in whispers of old tales alone, but woven deeply into discussions of whose goat cheese wore the strongest mantle. You find yourself walking among these rustic characters, their laughter low and rumbling like the rolling thunder of an afternoon storm. As you edge closer, the night air crisp, yet embracingly warm against your skin, threads of conversation become tangible. Someone claims superiority, with cheese wrapped lovingly in vibrant leaves, its flavor once likened to the embrace of dew-kissed meadows. Another voices their loyalty to the smoke. The cheese, they declare, carries the essence of Pine Hut, adventures a smoky tale drawn into every bite. Your curiosity piqued, you decide to sample these culinary creations. At first, taste the cheese is sharp, the kind of sharp that playfully nudges your senses awake. It mellows into a clean, lingering taste, one destined to leave an indelible mark on your memory, hanging there in that sacred space, reserved for the most treasured experiences. As you listen, a herder spins stories of how the use of leaves to wrap cheese hails from ancient times. Historians still debate whether this practice began purely for preservation, or if the earthy flavor it imparted was an unintended but much celebrated miracle. The leaves once plucked from the very landscape that shepherded these goats seem to weave their own mystery and magic. You drift to another circle of storytellers, where they deliberate over the cheese lovingly smoked in pine huts. This tradition speaks of the past stretching back to forgotten eras, where nomadic tribes staked their existence on the success of their herds. Aromatic pine, with its deep associations of protection and durability, would surround the cheese. Each delicate morsel carried within it a hint of adventure, a reminder of the smoke that whispered through mountain air, settling into the cheese as though claiming it as its own. The debate on taste lives vividly in the moment. Joy dances across the faces of the herders with an expression of pride, as ancient as the land beneath your feet. Intrigued, you learn that goat cheese was treasured not only for its taste, but for its essence of community. Stories of fabled goats that leapt from one cliffside to another are shared generously, their daring tales echoing in the same way the goats' playful bleats once did across valleys. As you nestle yourself into their world, you realize that beyond the delightful cheese skirmish, the herders hold a bond as enduring as the mountains they roam. Their debates, lovingly kept alive through generations, serve not just the taste buds, but the unseen threads that connect past, to present bridging gaps between distant lands and diverse people. When you gaze up, the stars twinkle down, as if gently nodding in agreement. The perfect canvas for wandering imaginations, you are reminded of the times you questioned the constellations, mused silently, if they too witnessed and reveled in this timeless dance of camaraderie. The mountains, stoic and significant, seem to whisper to you, urging the undiscovered wanderer within to embrace every note of this cultural symphony, every taste of this compelling narrative. As your eyelids grow heavy, lulled by the melody of storytelling and the gentle crackle of the night's fire, you realize that these experiences, each savory moment, form a tapestry, exquisitely weaving the simplicity of cheese with the complexity of human connection. You find solace in the ease with which each flavor transports you a humble goat cheese journey that welcomes sleep to whisk you into dreams, where perhaps even the stars partake in these ancient debates, twinkling with silent amusement. Lulled by it all, you sink deeper into tranquility, the echoes of their debates simmering to a gentle hum, like the tender whispers of time, guiding you into restful peace. Dates, you find, are more than just the sweet jewels of a desert land. Their sticky allure promises bursts of energy perfect for the long journeys across the sun-baked expanse of sand. Imagine biting into one, your teeth sinking into syrupy richness, the flavor so intense it practically sings on your tongue. But these are not ordinary dates. Some nestle a crunchy secret walnuts tucked inside, adding surprise and texture like little treasures hidden within the soft sweetness. In your mind's eye, the desert stretches far and wide, a rolling sea of golden dunes. The sun beats down relentless and unyielding. It feels like an oven, hot and dry, and yet you thrive here, just like the traders who came before you. These travelers whom fate has tied to the land eat dates, almost absent-mindedly, like counting coins, each one a step towards their destination. Their resilience impresses you. It's hard not to admire their grit and determination beneath the blazing sun. You note that historians still debate whether the earliest traders fully understood the nutritional goldmine they carried with them, or if they simply enjoyed the taste. Dates have sustained you, their energy boosting you for your own journey, wherever that might take you next. In these lands, water is life, but sometimes you find something even more decadent, dates soaking in rose water. The aroma is enchanting, a perfume-like whisper that brings a touch of fanciful luxury to the harsh desert. The flavor bursts forth lush and floral, as though you've just bitten into a piece of art. It's an indulgence quite unlike any other, and one which breaks the monotony of your travels. You pause, reminded that in these desert realms, the date palm was more than a tree, it was a symbol of prosperity and survival. Without its bountiful harvests, many a caravan might have found their adventures cut short. And while you enjoy this story from the comfort of your imagination, there's a sense of gratitude for such simple pleasures, pleasures that have been cherished through centuries. You walk on, shading your eyes from the glare of the sun, imagining how those before you sought shade under the fronds of date palms, grateful for any respite. Perhaps you even imagine their exchanges of stories just like yours, shared under the stars. Their tales of faraway lands and mysterious cities, some real, others perhaps spun from whimsy and dreams. Perhaps there's still some debate about whether those early traders realized they were not just transporting a delicacy, but also cultural exchanges wrapped in sweet, sticky skins. Dates traveled vast distances, leaving trails of influence and tradition. The humble fruit silently shaped interactions and connections along silk roads, and beyond leaving marks of countless hands that had passed them along. You reflect on a surprising detail, a find from recent years where seeds, thousands of years old, were discovered and coaxed back into life, proving yet again the resilience of these plants. This bridging of ancient and modern worlds is exhilarating, much like the journey you find yourself on step by step across that arid expanse. As the sun begins to dip, painting the sky with streaks of orange and pink, you understand why dates were more than just sustenance. They were threads linking past and present part of a grander tapestry of survival and camaraderie, their very nature promising future adventures still yet untold. And then you glide through time, landing in a vibrant Roman marketplace. Sweet yet tangy scents tempt you, and you glimpse a fruit so foreign it might as well have come from the moon. A lychee. You take a bite, and your senses flood with sheer delight mixed with a flurry of confusion as the juicy texture and taste defy everything you know. Did food even exist like this? Back home, Romans were said to have reveled in the uniqueness of such foreign delicacies, their imaginations fired by the diversity of the empire's reach. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, tell me where you are right now and the local time. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wander through these scenes of bustling trade routes. Imagine the clattering of horse hooves and creaking of wooden carts. Each trader, every merchant, each wanderer shares something more than mere goods. They share tales embedded within fruits. A pomegranate is more than a snack. It's an edible map showing conquests and trades, acts of diplomacy, and whispers of faraway lands. These fruits could tell of the world's interconnectedness in a time when travel could take years. The crisp bite of an apple may have Moses' story trapped in its skin, travelogue notes scribbled in its seeds. It's like tasting the whispers of different eras. You imagine floating along with Columbus, who might have marveled at the richness of tomatoes, unaware of the culinary revolution that awaited their discovery. Perhaps the most surprising element of these journeys is not just the awe, but the academic uncertainty that accompanies them. Historians still debate whether Marco Polo ever truly encountered the culinary delights of Asia that inspired Europe's crave for spices and fruits. Some say he did, others claim his tales were borrowed experiences. You imagine it all, the shimmer of spices in golden sunlight, the allure of fruits glowing enticingly in baskets, promising tales and tastes yet untold. And now, picture the moment, a Chinese merchant standing amidst the bewildering chaos of a Roman market. His eyes scan the countless stalls, his senses bombarded by scents and sights utterly removed from his understanding. It is here, tucked between silken shrouds and golden trinkets, that he spots a strange fruit shining like a beacon amidst the bustle, the lychee. His astonishment is matched by amusement as local Romans eagerly take their first bites. They gasp in shock as the sweet juices overflow, Laughter mingled with the confusion of experiencing something alien, yet wonderful. It's a moment that captures the spirit of trade. Unfamiliarity begets excitement, and trade binds us all in our quest for more. Of course, not all fruits tell their stories so openly. Some lend themselves to mystery old rhyme, and lore hint at past secrets. The peach, for example, was an immortality symbol in ancient China, its story tied to myth rather than map. Perhaps that's what lends some truth to its never-ending ripe appeal. As the night deepens, you trace the journeys these fruits have made, silently thanking those baffled travelers who brought them home. You marvel at the way fruits become so much more than nutrition. They're nuggets of history, culture, and adventure. Imagine biting into an apricot said to have voyaged from the depths of Asia, now a common sight that belies its exotic ancestry. And yet through the sweet taste of every fruit, there's also a lingering reminder of your own fragility among history's tides, a cheeky thought that the stories fruit whisper of you probably won't survive this sensory overload forever. Each story with an unknown origin, just like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Continuing your drift through these scenes, the language of fruit seems universal. A language without words, one that remains constant through centuries. You feel those stories wrapped around your taste buds with every bite from ancient market stalls, tales carried from distant hills and lands via the simplest of means. So, when you next see a fruit, look beyond its skin. Think of how you would have marveled at it, like a new sunrise had you been an ancient trader who stumbled upon it for the first time. These fruits, they connect us across time and space. Their stories are woven into our shared human experience. And as you lay there tucked within the comforts of your room's safe cocoon, think of how every choice bite at your table is tied to splendid adventures of pirates and poets, traders and travelers. Feel the thanks given to those historical figures unnamed and unsung who made each nibble possible. Each piece of familiar fruit, once exotic, holds within the promise of all tomorrow's possibilities. Just like tonight as slumber beckons, let the quiet journey of fruit soothe you into gentle dreams, where borders dissolve and the world becomes an orchard ready for exploration. Everywhere you look along the route of the ancient Silk Road, things are bubbling. Not with modern machinery or in sterile labs, but in wooden barrels and earthenware jars, surrounded by bustling caravanserais, where traders gather rest and prepare for the next stretch of their long journey. Here the air is alive with the earthy aroma of fermentation. Among the camel packs and crates of silk spices and other merchandise bound for faraway lands, there are unexpected treasures, pots of yogurt, resting beside woven blankets, jars of pickles packed tightly within straw baskets, and tightly sealed bags of soy paste. They're nestled among the goods, like prized secrets shared between travelers from different worlds. No one calls them probiotics yet, but even you traveling this route would know they soothe the belly and offer a sense of calm previously reserved for the rare moments of respite found under the endless sky. You probably won't survive the rigors of this road without a little help from these mysterious bubbling companions. Along the Silk Road, the magic of fermentation is passed along its secrets, exchanged in hushed tones or demonstrated by skilled hands, as if it were an ancient art. The yogurt swirled cool and creamy in small clay cups, the pickles briny and sharp, and the soy paste, a rich umami burst on the tongue. Each is a gift from the cultures that have mingled along this road throughout time. As you walk along with the traders, you might hear them share tales of the Gobi Desert's harsh sands, the imposing heights of the Himalayas, and faraway cities whose names sound like lullabies. These stories weave a tapestry almost as intricate as the goods they exchange. And as they speak, someone might offer you a tangy taste from a jar of pickles perfected in recipe over generations. Historical fact becomes part of these stories. Did you know that the fermentation practices we see spread along the Silk Road originated hundreds of years ago? The ancient Romans, for instance, enjoyed a fish sauce called garum that bears a semblance to the modern soy sauce, suggesting these practices were widespread. Yet historians still debate whether it was Greek influence or the travelers from the East who first brought these practices closer to Europe. You reach a bustling bazaar in a city known now to historians as Samarkand, where the vivid blend of colors and aromas surrounds you. Here, Central Asian bread is baked fresh and sold beside small, vibrant jars of pickled vegetables. Merchants call out their wares in melodic chants, blending languages from across the vast expanse of the trade route. You notice a trader placing small sample cups of yogurt on his stall, inviting everyone to savor the rich, slightly sour treat. A surprising detail is shared by a friendly merchant. The practice of fermenting milk to make yogurt was long thought to have spread from the Balkans. Some mysteries remain, as yogurt could very well have multiple origins, its creation in different parts of the world, simultaneously driven by similar conditions and needs. This makes you ponder the interconnectedness of humanity, sharing solutions even before they came into contact, much like how the goods and ideas traversed the Silk Road. The night creeps in the sky, turning a deep indigo stars, beginning to glitter like scattered gems. You settle near a modest fire with fellow travelers listening, as an old storyteller with a voice like honey tells of a time when fermented milk had miraculous qualities believed powerful enough to ward off maladies. It's a tale spun with the poetic flair of an ancient belief system, each word carrying you deeper into slumber. You curl up in your warm blankets, the comforting sounds of the camp blending with the soft breeze rustling through the grass. The road, with all its wonders and perils, seems less intimidating, knowing that there are simple pleasures like yogurt and pickles to keep the harsh realities at bay. You drift away with the thoughts of bubbling concoctions, age-old stories of trade, and the soothing calm that enveloped travelers long before you. The warm, inviting aroma of simmering soup fills the air as you step into a bustling medieval village. The distant echo of a blacksmith's hammer strikes rhythmically against an anvil, nearly harmonizing with the bubbling melodies of the broth pot in the nearby kitchen. You find yourself drawn to the heart of the village where ancient recipes conceal their secrets, each one promising the most comforting of rewards. As you peep through the wooden window, you see a humble cottage lit by the dim glow of the hearth. There, an old woman tends to a bubbling cauldron, stirring with a sturdy wooden spoon carved from the branches of trees that witnessed countless seasons. Her hands are steady, almost as if each stir conveys a sacred ritual handed down through generations. Life in the Middle Ages wasn't easy. You might find it charmingly rustic or perhaps utterly grueling, doesn't matter. The simple joys had to be cherished, especially since you probably wouldn't survive this era. You can't even get through a day without Wi-Fi, remember? But those simple joys often came in the form of a hearty bowl of broth. In these times, broths weren't just meals. They were lifelines. Without refrigeration, food preservation methods were scarce, limiting options significantly. But a wise cook, someone like Magda here, bending over her cauldron, knew just how to preserve and extract the strength of bones, the zest of beans, and the fortitude of barley to fill the belly and restore the spirit even in the harshest of winters. Every home protected its own recipe fiercely, like a jealous knight guarding his golden cup. Soup pots were vessels of family heritage, each unique due to the blend of local produce and personal history. Some historians still debate whether certain herbs were added for their nutritional value or simply to disguise the odd flavors of medieval, sometimes spoiled meats. As steam curls up from the pot, Magda tells you tales of your ancestors who relied on such broths, clashes of knights on horseback sieges, on mist-covered castles, and the quiet resilience of those who thrived in peacetime all float in your imagination. When these men and women return to their hearths chilled and weary, a bowl of this treasured warmth offered not just physical strength, but a sense of homecoming. Even today, some things haven't changed all that much. The sacredness of sharing a meal, the home remedy of a warming bowl to cast away illness, and the curiosity about what new life could be infused with remnants of the past. Just as no two snowflakes are alike, no two families' soups were ever the same. One might boast of a special touch of lavender. Another might stir in carrots harvested just at their peak. Magda dips a wooden ladle into the pot and lifts it to her nose, breathing in deeply before tasting. She smiles in quiet satisfaction, knowing her blend possesses just the right proportion of marrow from the bones, the sweetness of barely ripened beans, and the rustic chew of well-boiled barley. You notice the serene moment, a moment carried by her senses sharpened by her patience and knowledge. As you get lost in Magda's world, you understand that this simple act of cooking was more than survival. It was a connection to those who came before, and a gift to those who would come after. How many meals have been shared under this roof? You wonder with tales just like this one, flowing as freely as the broth that sustains them. The soft flames dance and flicker, casting playful shadows on the rough stone walls as the gentle hum of the hearth lulls you. The pot continues to bubble, a perpetual testament to the art of nourishment, a silent guardian of the forgotten recipes that will never taste exactly the same again. each pot a unique echo of the past. In that quiet moment next to Magda's steadiness and the warmth of the simmering pot, you find peace, an appreciation for the comfort that's rooted in familiarity, the bond of a shared meal, the strength drawn from simple ingredients, transformed under time-honored traditions. It's a place where you could almost imagine yourself slipping into dreams, just as the ancient village slips into the stillness of night, comforted by the knowledge that tomorrow the pot will boil once more. Moving softly along the vast Silk Road, you find yourself nestled amongst traders and travelers, each with stories as rich as the spices and silks they carry. Picture a cool desert breeze brushing against your cheek as you meander through a market vibrant with the hum of different cultures. Here, wrapped tenderly in a scrap of fine cloth, is a single fig whispering secrets of lands far and wide, of travelers long forgotten. This particular fig began its journey in the serene hands of a monk in Dunhuang. The monk, one of the many guardians of the ancient thousand Buddha grottos, believed this fig to be unlike any other. Its skin, though wrinkled, held a promise of sweetness so profound that consuming it seemed wasteful. So he handed it to a passing merchant, a man with dreams large enough to rival the golden desert horizon. The merchant, weary from his travels yet energized by the pull of this exquisite oddity, knew its worth instantly. He could not savor it, no one ever would. Instead, it became his talisman, a symbol of the stories he would collect and share on his journeys, a beacon guiding him through the thick fog of the unknown. You've likely read of the Silk Road, that great web of trade routes stretching across Asia to the Mediterranean. It was a place where silk was not just currency, but a thread weaving together cultures, legends, and innovations. The fig was unique, traveling from hand to hand, its legend swelling with each retelling. The fig was once rumored to have been grown in the mythical hanging gardens of Babylon, a place whose very existence is a riddle historians still ponder. Could it be that this fig, having sprung from the fertile imagination of ancient gardeners, carried with it the whispers of those suspended gardens, defying earthly constraints? In his wanderings, the merchant carried the fig close to him, sharing its story whenever he found himself reclining by a warm fire in the company of strangers turned friends. The tale of the fig would spark dreams amongst listeners as they imagined the wondrous landscapes it must have seen, or the hands that had cradled it before his own. You might find it surprising to learn that these journeys often took traders through perilous landscapes, where they might barter everything from spices to rhino horn, a concoction thought to grant unearthly powers. The fig, however, was a treasure of a different kind, cherished not for any magical property, but simply for its rarity, its unrivaled perfection. Traveling from the east to the west, the merchant knew that in Damascus the fig's legend would grow further. After all, Damascus wasn't just any city. It was one of the oldest continually inhabited cities in the world, its streets echoing with the footfalls of countless civilizations. Here the fig would find itself in the bustling heart of a world alive with history and knowledge. Yet it rested uneaten, much like the forgotten quiver of arrows buried beneath the sands of ancient battlefields. Strange how something so tangible could slip so completely into the realm of myth, isn't it? The fig became a legend, not because it was consumed, but because it remained whole, untouched by time. Historians still debate whether the fig passed beyond Damascus, weaving further tales into the tapestry of history. Perhaps in some dim corner of an archive or a forgotten storeroom, it rests still, a silent testament to the bonds between these ancient lands and the people who navigated them. It remains a story within a story, much like the delicate balance of assigning truth to tales passed through countless generations. Now, as the night deepens and the stars paint the sky with dreams, imagine the fig nestled safely, its journey a loop, a timeless echo in the corridors of history. Let your mind drift content in the knowledge that sometimes the greatest stories are not about destinations, but the paths that connect them. Safe travels as you follow your own map of dreams, where every mundane object might hold a legend waiting to unfold in the gentle hush of night. Each night you find yourself transported through a seamless journey across time and lands, painting pictures of how food and culture wove together, stories of empires and dynasties. Tonight, you wander through the bustling tapestry of the ancient Silk Road, where the art of sharing a meal transcended borders and tongues. You arrive in the stirring camp of the Mongols. The wind carries the earthy aroma of cooked meat, and you see that meals are often eaten with fervor and simplicity, using fingers to scoop up tender morsels of lamb. The air is filled with hearty laughter and the metallic clinks of ornamented jugs. You may secretly giggle at the sheer practicality and simplicity of scooping, yet you appreciate the unpretentious directness of the act. It's as if the Mongols, in their tireless thirst for conquest and their nomadic lifestyle, have distilled the essence of a meal to its core, purpose, nourishment, and camaraderie. Your journey then flows to the sophisticated table of the Persians, where meals are a dance of graceful fingers, pinching delicate portions of saffron-scented rice and tender stews. The Persian etiquette complex and beautiful mirrors, their gardens lush, intricate, and full of measured elegance. Here you observe the artistry in pinching food, a subtle embodiment of their civilization's blend of taste, aesthetics, and abundance. It's impressive how such an intricate society centers around the love of details, even in the act of dining. As you move east, you find yourself amidst the poetic and industrious people of China. Meals here are balanced and harmonious, guided by philosophies of yin and yang. The art of lifting food with slender chopsticks is both a challenge and a delight. The way the Chinese handle chopsticks with deft precision and grace feels almost like watching a delicate dance unfold. You attempt to pick up a slippery slice of ginger, and after a few comical failed attempts, you slowly get the hang of it, amused by your initial fumbling. Across each region, you pass the rituals, shift like the sands of a desert, yet remain similar in the heart of their purpose. This journey illustrates not only the differences in how people eat, but the shared human experience of gathering together, transcending words with shared flavors. In these moments, you sense the quiet gratitude between bites, the shared understanding that to eat together is to be part of something larger than oneself. It's hard not to feel full, not from the food itself, but from the warmth of silent satisfaction that permeates the scene. You pause to absorb this moment, an example of how the simplest act of eating intertwines with the heartbeat of human civilization. Again, the silence that echoes after a shared meal holds a satisfaction of unspoken harmony. Historians may debate the origins and precise influence of these dining customs and what they symbolize. Still, the unyielding truth is that from Mongol steppes Persian courts to Chinese homes, meals become bridges silent, but for the contentment they nurture. Amidst the night air filled with scents and soft murmurings of these vibrant cultures, you feel the peace stretching across time, soothing your restful soul. As you gently lower your imaginary chopsticks, it dawns upon you this timeless ritual of sharing a meal is a reminder of the constancy of human bond. You may not have a definitive answer to every historical query the Silk Road poses, but you do understand that sometimes the quiet aftermath of a meal is as satisfying as the meal itself. For now, let the sweetness of these shared moments lull you into a gentle slumber. Ahead lies more tales, waiting to be savored in your dreams, a journey unbroken by time, an endless feast for your imagination. Beyond the gentle whisper of the desert's evening breeze, you find yourself welcomed into grand palaces and humble tents alike, each space radiating warmth and hospitality. The air is filled with fragrant aromas, promising a feast fit for royalty, designed to honor the guests who have traveled far and wide. Tonight, as the soft glow of lamps illuminates the gathering, the table is set with a resplendent tapestry of dishes, stews rich with the tang of pomegranate, vibrant saffron rice, gleaming like scattered sunlight, and lamb, roasted to perfection, its aroma mingling with the spices in the air. As you sit among the guests, you are keenly aware that every morsel you are about to taste is a declaration of power and a gesture of peace, a testament to the host's wealth and their desire for harmony. The art of hosting such a feast, as you might guess, was no small task. It required not only wealth, but also a fine balance of diplomacy, a balance that showed strength, but promised no threat, a stagnant line between majesty and humility. The tradition of feasting to honor guests goes back centuries, deeply entwined in the histories of empires you've often heard of. One canonical fact is that the Persians, known for their opulent banquets, used them not merely to dazzle, but to forge alliances and foster peace. They believed that sharing their abundance with others could quell any seeds of discord. Indeed, it wasn't all about the show of gold and jewels. It was about solidifying relationships over the breaking of bread. One unexpected detail is that these grand meals sometimes featured an unusual dish that might take you by surprise, an early form of ice cream made using snow brought down from the mountains to chill sweetened fruit concoctions. This kind of indulgence wasn't just a luxury. It was a marvel of human endeavor and ingenuity, a little something to amaze you amid the familiar comfort of roasted meat and seasoned grains. Among the tantalizing offerings, you might wonder whether the saffron in the rice today tastes as vibrant as it did back then. Historians still debate whether the saffron trade routes were as far-reaching as some suggest. given the golden thread's prominence on plates from India to Italy. But as you savor the subtle earthy flavor, your thoughts drift more towards the present moment, where the music and laughter of dinner guests blend into a soothing lullaby. The palaces themselves were masterpieces, yet when it came to private gatherings, in tents pitched out under the vast star-studded skies, hosts valued intimacy over grandeur. The tent feasts offered a peculiar allure, an experience of simplicity wrapped in the gentle embrace of natural beauty. It was in these settings that secrets were often whispered, and the seeds of great plans for peace and trade were cautiously planted. You imagine yourself reclining on soft cushions as musicians play softly in the background, their melody intermingling with the joyful chatter of diverse languages, meeting in harmony. The desert may be harsh, but here, wrapped in the protective folds of the tent, the world feels softer, the stories more vibrant, and the night more tender. As the evening progresses, your senses are filled with the magic of the moment, an ancient backdrop playing out again in your presence. Just as the guests centuries ago might have slowly unwound from their travels and tensions, you too feel the calming embrace of the feast, a bringing together not just of flavors, but of friends and strangers, united under one roof, whether palatial or of woven fabric. The feasts you partake in tonight remind you that although history is often filled with tales of conflict, it is the small moments of peace, crafted from oneness at the table, that endure as a testament to our capacity for unity. So as the evening's delight starts to wind down, each delighting sip and bite becomes a subtle reminder of the peace, however fragile, that meals like these have consistently heralded throughout time. The warmth of 1,000 forgotten suns lingers softly on your skin as you rest, now breathing in the remnants of tales carried far and wide, whispered on ancient winds, secrets of lands long past. Full bellies hum gently and echo across history, as if the world itself is sighing contentedly at this moment of peace. You find yourself drifting through the corridors of time on the silk routes, once bustling veins of civilization, now quiet beneath layers of sand and snow. The pathways have vanished into the very fabric of the earth, yet their flavors remain like ephemeral ghosts seasoning the air. These ancient trails were once the lifelines connecting the east and west, with cinnamon winding its way into distant kitchens, leaving a lingering hint of spice on your tongue. This seems almost magical, as if time has bent to allow the blend of cultures and tastes to survive, even though the wagons and camels have long departed. Historians still debate whether the age of these roots was born from necessity or ambition, perhaps a blend of both, as the human spirit has always danced between survival and the tantalizing pull of exploration. Through your senses, you can almost taste the mingling of cultures, much like the fascination that caught Alexander the Great, who legend suggests might have sipped tea long before such a ritual crossed into Western consciousness. The subtle notes of a whisper-soft tea bring with them a gentleness that belies the arduous journeys endured by those ancient travelers. You smile at the thought of Dumplings' simple yet intricate pockets of delight. They were said to have originated somewhere along these routes, spreading and transforming as they traveled, much like stories themselves. Each bite was a compact narrative, a little bundle of warmth and sustenance that filled countless bellies across towns and tents alike. Picture the myriad of versions from the steaming xiaolongbao of China's misty streets to the robust and meat-filled manti served in Central Asia with a dollop of sour cream. Their essence transcends borders. And tonight, in the quiet of your resting space, you dream of them with fondness. As you wander deeper into this dreamscape, the lines between fact and memory blur, much like the vivid hues of spices blending in a merchant's pouch. The air is rich with the scent of history and speculation teasing your curiosity. You allow yourself to become part of the tapestry, a willing participant in this patchwork of past and present, where every inhalation is an exploration, each flavor a fragment of a story that has been continuously written for centuries. These tales hold the soft crackle of campfires under moonlit fields and the soft shuffling of camels under foreign stars. You imagine yourself amongst them wrapped in woven textiles, colorful and vibrant trader, traveler, or dreamer, it matters not. The important thing is the journey itself, the exchange of goods and stories, creating an unending dialogue that flows across the continent like a river of time. Relax into the gentle embrace of history that envelops you with its faint flavors. The knowledge that though the silk roots may have vanished beneath stone and frost, their essence endures, makes small ripples in the sands of time, visible only to those who choose to see with the heart. Let the soft hum of your contentment sing its melody in harmony with those who have come before and those who will follow a melody of survival, of connection. Now let this tranquility gently unravel the knots of your day. The soothing cadence of bygone times eases the winding paths of the present. You are cocooned in the whisper of stories shared by countless lives across the ages, from vibrant bazaars to quiet, starlit nights. Feel this calm settle like a soft blanket drawn snugly around your shoulders. As you slip further into this soothing abyss, imagine the calm flows through every fiber of your being. Soft twilight shadows play across your eyelids as you fade into slumber, feeling interconnectedness to those distant sands and snowy passes. The ripple of 1,000 journeys hums as a lullaby as you drift into rest. Time itself seems to slow. Each breath becomes a lull in the ocean of your dreams. The cadence of history invites you into its embrace. Its gentle hand guides you down deeper into repose. At this moment, you are everything and nothing, floating softly beyond the threshold of waking, cradled in the silk of serenity. Eventually, all sound and sensation fade into a gentle silence, a sweet nothingness that whispers promises of peace and renewal. Rest easy in the comfort that accompanies letting go. Let this be your lullaby, the promise that you've traveled well and can find respite here, wherever here may be. The journey concludes not with a sudden end, but by softly blending into your dreams, leaving you restful and ready for the undiscovered stories that await.